On the day of my follow-up appointment after the miscarriage, Owen made up another excuse and left. I was used to this sort of thing. At first, I'd feel a sharp sting of abandonment, but over time, I'd learned not to let it bother me. I watched him go in silence, a strange sense of calm washing over me. A nurse called my name. I took my test results and headed home alone. Sure enough, a text from Owen came through right on cue. Lila, you're okay getting home by yourself, right? Something came up at work. The old me would have probably begged him to come back, but now, the thought just seemed laughable. I replied with a single calm word, okay. Putting my phone away, I hailed a cab. Just as I settled into the back seat, a familiar car pulled into my line of sight, Owen's. He hadn't gone far at all. Back home, I opened Twitter out of habit, and a new post immediately caught my eye. A user named Lovely1 had tagged Owen with the caption, "It was just a little sore throat, but he insisted on taking me to the hospital and stayed by my side the whole time. After all this time, you're still the best." Lovely1 was Clara Bennett, Owen's childhood sweetheart. She had married and moved away with a wealthy businessman years ago, but she'd divorced him last year and moved back to the city with her child. So that's what I was, just a convenient stand-in after his childhood sweetheart left. I had given up everything for him, even foolishly thought a baby could keep him. Thinking about it now, the miscarriage almost felt like a mercy. I didn't confront him. I took the medicine the doctor prescribed and fell into a deep sleep. I don't know how much time passed before the sound of the door creaking open woke me in the dead of night. He was back. What did the doctor say? Owen walked to the bedside, leaning in to stroke my hair, but I caught the faint scent of an unfamiliar perfume. I froze, instinctively turning away from his touch and shaking my head silently. Nothing. Everything's fine. He seemed to let out a breath of relief, then explained, "Work has been so crazy lately, I just couldn't get away." I didn't call him out on his lie. I just rolled over, my back to him, my voice devoid of emotion. "Right, you should probably take a shower first." He paused for a moment, but ultimately said nothing. A moment later, I heard the sound of the shower running in the bathroom. I had the early shift the next day, so I left before dawn. Just as the morning meeting wrapped up, Owen called. His voice was indignant. "Lila, why didn't you wake me up? You just left without a word and now I've overslept." I used to dote on him, laying out his clothes, making his breakfast, and waking him gently, especially after we got married. But his entitled tone made it sound like it was all just part of my job description. I wasn't his maid, I was his wife, and I had every right to say no. "Since you're already running late, you should probably get up," I said, my tone perfectly even. "What should I wear today?" he pressed. "Wear whatever you want. The clothes are in the closet. But I can't find—" I have to go. A colleague called my name just then, so I quickly hung up. A moment later, his texts started flooding in. "The shirts are all wrinkled. Didn't you iron them? How am I supposed to go to the office in this?" Followed by another, "You didn't make breakfast either?" Just then, my department head called me into his office. "Lila, great news," he said, his face beaming. "The hospital has decided to recommend you for the advanced training program. You're all recovered, so now is the perfect time." I had once turned down this opportunity for him and the family we were supposed to build. How foolish I'd been. "Sir, I've made up my mind," I said, meeting his expectant gaze, my voice firmer than it had ever been. "I'll go." The department head told me to just let him know when my dates were confirmed. This was my ticket to the future, a future I could finally control myself. I threw myself into my work until dusk settled. I was just grabbing a stack of files to keep going when Owen called again. "Why aren't you home yet? What about dinner?" The thought of going back to that empty house, back to him, filled me with a powerful sense of resistance. A colleague had an emergency, so we swapped shifts. I lied without missing a beat. "Takeout?" He sounded surprised. "We'd barely eaten out since we got married. Is that a problem?" No, he hesitated. "Just take care of yourself. Don't work too hard." "Thanks." My voice was flat, and there was a moment of silence on the other end. Then Owen asked, "Lila, are you mad at me?" The question was so oblivious it was almost funny. A flicker of something close to anger rose